Proliferation resistance. Um, well, the large reactors have a couple of problems. They're big, lots of neutrons. Let's go to the next slide. So, if you take a look at you know somewhat large nuclear plants, they've been exploited to make weapons plutonium. RMBKs at Chernobyl were used to make weapons plutonium for the Russian arsenal. Uh, the heavy water reactor that was connected to the grid at Hanford was also used to make plutonium for our weapons arsenal. The Swedish attempt to make nuclear weapons depended on a nuclear plant they claimed that was civilian. Uh, and let's see here. I'm having a hard time seeing the. Oh, here we go. British, they connected their weapons production plutonium machine to the grid. Phoenix was a fast breeder reactor. Uh, it too, Phoenix and Super Phoenix both were used to supply super weapons grade plutonium to the French program. We even considered during the twilight of the Cold War turning LWR, a light water reactor system in Washington, to make tritium and plutonium. And in fact, one of our plants now is used to make tritium. That's Watts Bar. And then the Indian pressurized heavy water reactor uh, definitely has been used to make weapons material, as well as electricity. I told you about this example in the last lecture. We were very nervous in 2012 when this plant was shut down. The Iranians said it was for safety reasons, and it turned out it was. But the fear was it would have had 25 bombs worth, uh, approximately, of plutonium um, in it. I think that number, 100 kilograms, doesn't sound right. Divide by five. Well, maybe. Yeah, 25. Yeah. Um, so we overflew it with drones, according to the complaint from Iran to the UN, making sure we hoped that nothing left there to some place where it might be the spent fuel would be, chemically treated to strip out the 1% of the fuel that would be weapons plutonium. In any case, light water reactors, which people love to say are not a weapons concern, is our weapons concern, and this is proof of it. The next slide. Also, you could put reprocessing plants in a space 30 feet by 130 by 60, according to some two fellows who were leaders in the reprocessing industry. I don't know how likely this is, but we know that the Israelis have a reprocessing plant underneath the reactor. So my guess is you can do this, and it has been done already. The designs for a number of reactors in the States included having a reprocessing plant inside of the containment building. And so it does strike me that this scaling sounds right as possible. This uses pretty crude technology, can be stood up without us knowing in 6 months and produce a bomb's worth of plutonium per day. Uh, and you might not know anything until it began. And with proper filtering and shielding, you wouldn't even know that it was operating. It releases a noble gas called krypton, and that's what we use as a sniffer. But if you put it in a place where it's airtight and there are filters, you won't necessarily even know it was operating. And this could go inside any warehouse I know of. That is not a big item, right? So all of that means that if you have a reactor, you could have a bomb starter kit. Now, commercial reprocessing plants can make hundreds of these bombs, and here are some so-called peaceful plants, all of which, in the case of the Chinese, the Russians, Lahag, the Indian, and even the ROK have been discussed as seconding or actually being used to make weapons material as well. And when I say said, by officials and experts in these countries, so you got to worry that they might know something or they might be right. Okay, next slide. Of course, commercial uranium, can make many bombs worth of uranium, and you have facilities in Iran, India, Russia, France, China, and of course, South Korea wants them. Uh, Japan should be listed here as well, and Rakasha. Okay.